Hey y'all, it's Alec the Road Warrior Prepper. Today we're going to talk about inflation, food prices, and the government's overspending and printing of our currency. What brought this to mind was I was reading several articles that shows that Walmart, Target, and Aldi have all lowered their prices on thousands of everyday goods, mostly food, that American consumers need. Now, they didn't do it because they wanted to be kind and helpful to all their customers. They did it because inflation has made it nearly impossible for the average person to buy the goods, the food that they need. In one of the articles, they talked about how the American citizens are tapped out. They have gone through most of their savings. Their credit cards are maxed out, and they cannot afford to shop and buy the things they need. And if you all know that America is a capitalist society, which is a good thing, but these big box stores like Walmart, Target, Aldi, they need for us to buy their products for them to stay in business. If we're not buying milk and bread and pasta and meat and stuff from their stores, they're unable to afford their bills. They can't pay the rent or mortgages on their buildings. They can't afford their employees. As they let employees go, they have to close the businesses. So what has caused them to have to lower prices? Well, we'll talk about that. You know, demand for all these products are still high, and that's not why they've lowered their prices. You know, I still need to eat eggs. I still need to eat meat. I still need the products. And living in a motorhome, traveling the country, I can't have a cow and a pig and a big garden to supply myself with the food I need. But they've had to charge so much for their goods that we can't afford to buy it like we used to. And what has caused this is our government's out of control with spending and printing money. Now, what I can't believe is that we are taxed at what feels like one of the highest rates that we've ever been taxed as a society. It seems like more and more of my paycheck is going for not only income tax, but property tax, sales tax, city tax, county tax, gas tax, you name it. Even with all that tax money going into the government, they are printing money at a higher rate. And they're not printing money because they're giving it to us. They're printing money to send to Ukraine, to other countries, to give to the immigrants, non-immigrants, correction, to the illegals that are crossing into this country, that they're encouraging so they can change the voter base. So they're printing all this money and taxing us at this high rate for their own good. The people that are in charge in government right now, They know that Americans are fed up. And so they're bringing in more people to give them things, to keep them in power. But I digress. What we are talking about is what inflation is doing to our food and to our businesses. And so when we have all this inflation, it causes our dollar to be worth less, and therefore causes our prices to increase. You know, I read another article where so Biden came out with a speech, and this is paraphrasing, that the businesses, they need to lower their prices because they're greedy and are making too much money, and that's the cause of the higher grocery prices. When in actuality, it's the inflation that's causing the higher prices. And it's because of this inflation that us consumers, us average people, are having to buy less, do more with less. You know, one thing that we have found that you can do with hamburger is you can buy less hamburger meat, add a slice or two of bread into your hamburger, and make more patties. So you could turn a pound of hamburger, let's just say you make 4 quarter-pound burgers out of it for dinner. You can add a slice or two of bread, mix it in, and now you've got enough to make 5 hamburgers. You know, you have to do things like that to be able to make your dollar go further. You know, I haven't done stuff like that since I was eating ramen noodle in college, but we found ourselves the other day when we were on the soup aisle, a can of Campbell's chunky soup is now $3.25, which is the soup I prefer if I'm gonna eat soup. We bought one of those case slots of ramen noodle, because you can get ramen noodle for a third or less of the price of regular soup. Is it as good for you? No. Does it fill you up? Yes. And so that's what we've had to do. And the lower prices from the grocery stores are definitely going to help, but it's not fixing the problem. And we have to have the Walmarts, we have to have the Aldis, we have to have the Winn-Dixies, the Albertsons. We have to have these grocery stores. Do you really think that the government, who a lot of people now are turning to solve all their problems, do you think the government can open a grocery store or something, or a Walmart, to supply us with the needs that we have? No. Hell, have you been to the highway department lately? Could you imagine the government trying to run a grocery store? But with these inflation prices, they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to quit printing money. They're going to have to quit rising up the cost. And I was talking to somebody here in the campground the other night discussing this. He goes, well, the inflation rate's only like 3.8%. And I said, do you realize that the government, like they do everything, is manipulating the inflation rate? Well, what do you mean by that? They take rent out of the equation. They take energy cost out of the equation. I think they even take food cost out of the equation. I read an article where food price is up over 100% than it was 3 years ago. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's crazy. Even if it's up 40%, that's crazy. I don't know when it's going to turn around, but I think the prices are going to get higher. Why the big box stores, grocery stores, even the mom and pops have lowered their prices some. I think we need to take advantage of it. Stock up on what we can afford, so we have something when we can't afford it. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth, and I hope that the government gets their act together and they quit giving our money away to non-citizens, to countries thousands of miles from here, and stop worrying about the politics and being in power, and take care of the people that we elected them to take care of, the American citizens, you and me. Until next time, y'all be safe out there and take care.